Welcome to the bra making of the Boylston bra. This is one of my favorites, and we're making it out of a really cute scalloped edge non-stretch mesh with a very light stretch lining. Yeah, that's it. And here's our power net here. I've got it all cut out. Here's the finishing kits, and the power net is here. So the first thing we're going to do is put the band together. So here's my band pieces here, the back band. I'm going to start with the bridge, and if you notice, I've got all of my bra pieces still together so I can keep up with them. So I can do my left and my right and make sure my notches are identified here, here, and there's a notch here, and then the two notches on the bridge. So we'll go through all of that. Okay, but first thing we're going to do is the bridge. And the bridge and the lining, get right sides together, 1/4 inch off the top, and then we're going to do the frame on each side, and then the power band in the back, the band with the power net in the back. Since we're making a fully lined bra, I'm going to show you how to put the lining and layers together so you don't have exposed seam on the inside. So here's the 2 layers of the bridge. It's been stitched across the top, 1/4 inch, and you got a nice seam there. And I typically do a little top stitch right in the middle so it stays put. And we're going to attach the bridge, the frame rather, to the bridge. So here's the main fabric, the frame, right sides together. Here's the lining of the bridge. And then underneath, right sides together of the lining of the frame. So you've got main fabric frame, main fabric bridge, lining fabric bridge, main fabric frame. You get used to it. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. This is what it looks like when you do it all on both sides. No exposed seam there and no exposed seam here. And you can top stitch right here and right here on both seams because it just gives it more stability and structure. There you go. Now we're going to put the back band on, and we're going to hide that seam also. I hope you hear our music. We always have to say we don't have any rights to the music. We're just jamming on the video. And this album is by Gladys Knight. It's the standards called Before Me. So there's Ella, there's Billy, there's Sarah Vaughan, there's so many. Even on the album, she's got their pictures, like their little heavenly photos around her in the picture. But I love standards and whoever sings them, but Gladys Knight's album is exceptional. So no, I don't own the rights. I just include it in my videos because I'm jamming. Okay, so I hope you were watching what I was just doing because I was running my mouth. But I'll tell you when I do it on the other side. I'm sandwiching the power net in between the frame, lining, and main fabric. Oh, it's a slippery little sucker. Like Pretty Woman say. Okay, let's see. I'll get this up here. Yeah, we get that slippery fabric. Okay. All right. There we go. Here's the main fabric of the frame. Here's the right side. Here's the right side of the power net. Right sides together. Here's the lining. Flip it over to the other side and sandwich with lining, power net, and main fabric. I pray you don't have this exact fabric. Man, you know, you just never know when you get a beautiful kit. You're like, oh man, look at all this slipperiness. But it'll be fine. There's no such thing as too many pins to hold it together. No such thing as too many clips either. Okay, it's happening. Let's just make it stay together. Okay. Let's get to stitching. Nice stitching. Then you want to just take it the right way. Pull it through. There you go. And there's the inside with no exposed seam. And you can top stitch here. Top stitching is okay with a straight stitch. This kit came from Your Way Lingerie in Australia. One of our friends who's a bra maker and boutique owner and sewing instructor. They have beautiful kits, and because they're in that part of the world, they can get their hands on some beautiful laces. This is an embroidered non-stretch mesh, so it's really pretty. And she sent me a gift. Here you go, Nikki. I said, thank you, Megan. All right, so we've got our band together. Let's do top stitching on all the seams. Make sure our notches are where they're supposed to be because it's time for cups. Here's a note. When you're doing your notches, when you're dealing with delicate mesh fabrics, like if you're dealing with a duoplex or a heavier satin or, you know, just a heavier non-stretch fabric like a cotton, I would think it's okay to snip. I would. Just, I mean, tiny snips so you can keep your notches. But when I'm stitching with lace and mesh, I use an invisible ink marker. And I can see them, but there's 2 red marks right there for the notches that go right there on the bridge. And these are erasable with the eraser or heat. And because I don't put an iron on this, I can press it with my finger long enough and it'll go away. So hope that was a good tip for you. All right, we are done with the band, putting the band together. Okay, let's put the cups together. And what I did, I kept them in orientation. So I'm just gonna grab up the first one with the lining and the main fabric, and then do the second one, the left and the right. So here's my outside piece and inside piece. Here's my other cup and the one I'm working on now. So just keep it in your vision so you won't get them confused, okay? I think I've gotten used to the Boylston bra pieces because I've made it so many times. Just the larger sides are where the apex vertical seam. So these sides right here. So let's put them together. Right sides together. Main fabric, the lining is underneath, and then line it up. And I line it up, you probably can't see, but I've got a red line where I made my notches. And if you get it lined up first, just clip at your notch, and then you can start to work with the edges. I'll show you how, when you put it together, I'll show you how you can check it to make sure that it's what you want. If you've seen any of my other tutorials for fully lined. Okay. Here's the outside, the inside, and then there's the outside side lining. And then the inside. There we go. Right, there's our first cup, and I'm putting the second one together. When I'm doing the taping, the song will change, and I'll be like, oh man, you gotta hear this. So I hope you're enjoying that part. She's singing Stormy Weather. Stormy weather. Together. Putting the second cup together. I put this one together and I top stitched it. There's a lining. We are done with those pieces. Those are the most challenging, especially when you've got with this kind of bra. So now, let's do our upper cup. Now, doing the lining and creating a, an enclosed seam is easier because you're doing that and you're sandwiching and the lower cup in between. The important part is your notch. Making sure you've got that notch because that notch goes at the seam point of the lower cup pieces. So let's put that one together. All right, here's the first cup. Show you how it turns out first. Oh, isn't that beautiful? It looks like a peacock. Alright, so it's got the lining. There's no exposed seam there because I just sandwiched the top of the upper cup. See my little red line there? Yeah, I think they are peacock feathers. But okay, so there's that. And I'm going to top stitch over here. All right, so let me show you how we did this. Where do we have? Oh, I hadn't done my notch yet. Now on this one, I'm doing the notch on the back, on the lining side, because the lace just won't show it. Just keep going through so I can see. Okay. All right, I got it. I can see it. Right sides together on the upper cup. The notch is right at the vertical seam of the lower cup. And then create a sandwich. I'll organize that song right off. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the ends and do them first. Wow, that is not Gladys Knight. Alexa, what's up? Oh, I played the whole album. So when the album was over, it was over. Okay, we'll do something about that. Because I'm in a standards mood, so we're going to have to play with somebody else. All right, so go to the other ends. Each end, and then fill in the middle. And you'll have pins all the way across. Make sure you capture all 4 layers. Here's the main fabric of the upper cup. the two fabrics of the lower cup and then the lining of the upper cup. Just make sure you capture all 4 layers. You don't want to get a really nice stitch in there and then notice that you missed a, there's a stray, that you missed a layer. That ain't a happy feeling. Okay. Yep, just keep going. See, I would have missed that one, this stitch, because the fabric, you know, there's not much contrast with your fabrics either when you have a lace and mesh like this, lace and lining. There's not much contrast, so you want to make sure. The most contrast we have is that back band, that gold. Okay, there we go. I'm going to test it and look and make sure. Alrighty, get these cups done. Alright, I got the cups done, and I'm going to trim the seam of this one. And I decided to just keep playing Gladys Knight music, even though that album went off. So we've got Queen of Tears, best thing that ever happened to me. So we'll see. But here's the seam, even though it's a 1/4 inch, trim this down so you can have a nice even seam when you do a top stitch, and take this trimmings outside for the robins to make their nest. They like thread and little pieces of string, but it's also cool to give the little lady some lace and mesh shavings so she can have a soft nest for her eggs and her babies. Do it all the time. I take my little thread basket, like that shavings right there. They love that stuff. Okay, final top stitch, and then we're gonna drop these babies down into the cradles. Time for cups to be put into the cradle. That's what one looks like. And you've got a 1/4 inch seam that goes around, and this is where the underwire channeling is going to go. This lace is a little bear to work with, and I'll show you why. All right, so this notch on the frame matches up with this seam. Already got, there it is. And you got notches and seams that match up. That keeps the cup balanced. There's that edge. And then this notch on the side of the bridge matches up with this seam. And then look what happened. Our lace is too large for the top of the bridge. Look. So ideally, when you lay the top cut piece down, you're supposed to align it with the bottom of the valleys of the lace scallop. Let me show you. It's supposed to be like that. But these scallops are relatively large, and they were too large for this piece to match up with the bridge. So what I did, I darted it down in there on this side so it would be pretty. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And you know what? You can do that. You can do anything you want. So I'm gonna dart it down so that the scallop aligns with, this is funny, but I like to teach this kind of stuff too. So that you don't think there's always these rules. Okay. See? this. Okay, so we're gonna stitch it just like this. Okay, so seriously, you're gonna stitch around in the circle, matching up all 4 layers. You've got 4 layers, 2 layers on each side. The cup, the frame, and the bridge. So you're gonna fill in and try to make sure, just a tip, try to make sure your stitch is very accurate at 1/4 inch, because that's where you have to stitch the underwire channeling, and you don't want any flexibility there because it's got to stay put. And it will, because you stitch underwire channeling twice. Okay, there we go. I'm going to stitch that together. All right, we're finished, and I got something crazy to show you. So remember, I just kind of got funky with the bridge, putting the lace. Look at that. Is that crazy? I don't know if it's an owl or a cheetah or whatever. Isn't that something? Okay, let's do it. We're gonna be ready to put underwire channeling in. You have enough underwire channeling. Cut it in half. Okay, and you are going to stitch on both sides. The underwire channeling has a twill side and a plush side. All plush materials go towards your body. So we're going to put the underwire channeling around each cup, stitching it on the 1/4 inch seam. So let me show you. Let's take a moment to remind the internet that I don't have rights to this music. I didn't make it, Gladys Knight did, but I'm just using the music to jam while we're making bras. All right, so take the underwire channeling. Here is the right side of the cup. You're going to place the underwire channeling on the cup side of the seam. Okay, the cup side of the seam is where you're going to lay the underwire channeling down. Lay it down right there. Create some handling room at the top, right here, and just lay it down right beside the seam, and you're going to stitch about 1/8 of an inch away, very carefully. Let me show you. And here's your seam. You're laying it on the cup side of the seam. Here's the underwire channeling. Lay it down. Plush side up, because this is going to be folded over and go on your body. And leave a little handling room at the top. Lower your needle. Just get yourself together. That's what I call it. And just stitch right on the edge. It's a tiny space, but it works, because this is the first pass. I'm putting the underwire channeling on. And when you get to the end, leave some handling room also, because this is where the bridge in the middle is where you're going to insert the wires at the end. And that was a little back stitch there. Okay, see, it's down. Let's turn and look. That's it. And then we'll do the other side, and our next step will be bottom band elastic and underarm elastic. We've got the first pass done on the underwire channeling. So we're going to stop here and then apply the bottom band elastic, because when the bottom band elastic gets folded up, the underwire channeling gets folded down on top of it. So then we go back and lay down the underwire channeling. All right, so these two elastics, if you're you know, getting different kits and everything, you may notice the bottom band elastic is larger than the underarm elastic. So this is what, 3/4? No, this is a 1/2 inch elastic, and this is a 3/8 elastic. Typically, the underarm elastic is no larger than 3/8. You could also use fold over elastic too. So we're going to apply the 1/2 inch elastic to the bottom band of this one, and it also has a plush side and an elastic side, and the plush side goes towards your body. So we're going to apply this elastic to the front side of the bra, the picot edge. These are little picots, and they peek out. That's what they're called, picot. They peek out from the underneath the bra. So we're going to take the, let's come this other end, bottom band elastic, and lay it here, plush side up, picots facing the bra, because when it turns, it's like that. The picots are peeking out and the plush side is on your body. You're going to lay the elastic out. You're not going to stretch. You're just going to lay it down and stitch it. And you're going to use a 3-step zigzag. Let me show you what that is. Here's your 3-step zigzag right there, the number 4. That's the zigzag stitch that you're going to use. It allows elastics to stretch more so than a regular zigzag. So find this zigzag stitch on your machine, and that's what you're going to use when you are stitching on top of elastic making your bra. Put the bottom band elastic on, and now that first pass, the 3-step zigzag, I'm going to turn it over, and stitch it again. This time, I'm going to stitch on the far left side. And then you're going to do the same thing with the underarm elastic, the 3/8 inch. Place it on the front, fold it over to the back, 3-step zigzag from the back band, top of the back band, to where the top of the upper cup is. So now you can see how the underwire channeling will work. You got the elastic on, it's turned over, and then we're going to go back to the underwire channeling and lay it down and stitch on the other side, so it'll be secure, because you want your wire near your body, so that's why it goes on top of the bottom band elastic. So you want to lay it down and just lay it flat, so that you can pin it, and you can stitch 1/8 inch on the opposite side, and then the underwire channeling will lay flat, just like that. And here's a tip. This is the underarm side where the elastic goes, and it's going to turn 3/8 inch. You're going to insert your wire through the middle, so leave that open. So cut down the underwire channeling 3/8 inch below the edge, so that when the elastic is there and it gets turned over, it'll turn right on top of the underwire channeling. If you have too much there, it's going to fold on itself and it'll be too much bulk, and that'll bug you later on, trust me. So cut it down about 3/8 of an inch so that when the elastic folds over, it'll sit on top of the underwire channeling, and that'll be the stop where the wire stops. At this point, when we get ready to put on the strap, we want to take a moment to look at the closure and measure to see if it's going to fit. When patterns are designed, they're designed with flexibility for a 3x2 or 2x3 or a 3x2 closure. So at this point, I always stop and measure. So here's your opening. And you want to see where it's going to fit. So it would go right there with enough room for this edge to fit and then this edge to fit with the strap that's going to be on there. The strap will be right there, right? So we definitely want to cut that off right there. This is a very common adjustment that's made because it's just all based on how the pattern was designed. And there's always some flexibility to make an adjustment to the back band. And then what I do is just take my little curve here. I want to turn it the other way. Let's see. And play with it and see how you want it. You don't want to cut too much off here. This is where your strap comes from, over your shoulder. So you don't want to disturb the balance of where your strap hits you in the back. So you don't want to do that. You want to do it right there. Just make sure you've got a nice curve here. Okay. I'm just going to draw my line here. I drew it enough so I can just hand do it right here. And then I'll put both together and cut it with the rotary so it'll be really smooth and both sides will be even. And just cut it off. There we go. And then it's going to fit. There we go.